Taking a look at spell here, you can see we got a successful retest of this red box of resistance and then moved further down. Currently, it looks like we are testing the 2618 and actually have found a bounce here. You can see we pretty much blew through the 1618 to the downside, which is probably to be expected considering everything else tanked. You see when we did come down to touch the 1618, we did have a wick of about 24%, so not too bad. Take a look at the RSI on the daily, you can see that we've been oversold for some time now. We could very well see somewhat of a relief rally before we trend lower. And the only reason I say we have the potential to trend lower is because we are still technically in a downtrend. We are setting lower highs, right? Lower lows still, and presumably another lower high, right? You can also see on the daily Ichimoku as well as the EMA ribbon that we are pretty far away from it. So we don't really have that much of a threat at this moment, at least on the daily chart. The EMA ribbon could come down here, especially if this makes somewhat of a bear flag pattern. We see something like this play out and the EMA ribbon starts kind of pushing down on the price here. We could very well see another rejection. What we really need here is a relatively quick buy up, potentially above the 1618. Test it as support and really start grinding away at the EMA ribbon here so we can break it to the upside. But in my opinion, we'll probably see something like this where we come to retest this and maybe even touch the bottom of this red box before we find a rejection. And depending on how weak the rally is, it could stop out at the 1618. Take a look at the 4-hourly chart. You can see the test of the 2618 pretty well here. We've had a decent move to the upside. From the bottom of this wick to the very top, where we topped out recently, was a 72% gain, so pretty good. You can see on the 4-hourly that the EMA ribbon has caught up with the price action. We did get somewhat of a test here and have already rejected, so that isn't really that great in my opinion. That just shows weakness in the market. Back here, you can see when we came up to almost test it again, we had another fall. Whereas back here, when we were really kind of grinding away at this level, we almost broke it to the upside, but ultimately got rejected out of the red box, as this was the retest of the previously zone of support. So it's really not looking that great on the 4-hourly either. The Ichimoku cloud is relatively far away, and it is pretty thin, so if we do manage to break this to the upside, we could have a good chance of breaking the Ichimoku cloud as well, but ultimately we will be fighting this red box of resistance yet again. If we take a look at the hourly chart, you can see that we're actually testing the Ichimoku cloud yet again. Back here, you can see when we tested the Ichimoku cloud for the first time, we had a significant rejection to the downside. Here we are testing it again with a thicker cloud, so I'm expecting more of a rejection here. If we can find support relatively soon and really start testing the Ichimoku cloud, we could very well start trading within it and potentially break it to the upside. I have seen coins trade all the way to the top of the Ichimoku cloud before getting rejected, so that's something to keep in mind. But here you can see we have had a successful test and rejection of it at this moment. If we take a price range from the top here around the bottom, it's around an 18% loss. Nothing too crazy, this is the hourly time frame, but we still found resistance at it. So considering everything else is pretty much tanking right now, including stocks, I don't see this entering a new long-term uptrend anytime soon. But that doesn't mean we can't find a bounce here and see some substantial gains. If we take a price range from where we are now to say the bottom of this red box, that's a 140% increase. And even to the 1618, that's another 53%. So there's definitely still some room to make profits in a downtrend, but they're just not as good as an uptrend. So the first level I'd really be looking at to take some profit is probably the 1618 if you've already bought in. 1618 sits around 1002. And if we can manage to break the 1618 to the upside, find support off of it, our next stop will likely be at this red box of resistance before we find another rejection. And this red box of resistance is at around 003. Now, depending on how long it takes to get back to this red box of resistance, the EMA ribbon could come down and if we could find a rejection at the 1618 as I mentioned previously. And that's if we don't start buying this back up relatively quickly. If we break much below the 2618 here, we could very well find a move all the way down to the 3618, which is sitting around 0005. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do so as I try to post content daily. As always, this is not financial advice, and I'll see you in the next one.